Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, so I ask all of you to do homework. I think you have done good homework. Anyway, so I have been teaching in the Lamrim for almost in this place more than 13 months. And also have been teaching Lamrim and other Dharma in Kelang more than 2 years. So anyway, I have been in Singapore more than 3 years. For 3 years, I have been teaching so many different kind of teaching. Particularly, I emphasize Lamrim. So we even have to be very serious about study Lamrim, practicing Lamrim, because it usually everybody very much thinking about eating good food, having healthy body. Make sure, every day you don't have any kinds of sickness. When you when you have a small sickness, very minor sickness in within your body, you always try to cure within own time. You never delay to do treatment. You never delay to see doctors. At the same time, we very much, focus on healthy body, healthy food. At the same time, everybody must think about how I can have healthy mind, how I can have, how I can stop to have all the bad thoughts. When you have kind of bad thoughts for a short time, at short moment, you should not delay to fix the mental problems. If you delay, it's for today and tomorrow, then the thoughts, the bad thoughts, the negative thoughts become more stronger and stronger. Finally, you cannot, control very easy way. So it is something, in order to have a healthy body, usually we eat healthy food. We always avoid to eat unhealthy food. It is same in order to have a healthy mind. You always try to have good thoughts. You always try to avoid the bad thoughts. So Lamrim is about how we can have a healthy mind, very healthy mind. The healthy mind, Lamrim is about how we can have the healthy mind forever. And also, I said many times, the practicing Buddhism is only, the practice how I can increase the positive mind, decrease the negative thoughts, how, we can have a healthy mind. So, even though, the people believe in religion, or the people who, don't believe in religion, everybody have a same thoughts to have a healthy body, healthy mind. But in order to have a healthy mind, so we need to do so many different kind of practices, so many different kinds of meditation. So make sure when you do meditation, when you practice Dharma for to increase the positive thoughts, negative thoughts, decrease the negative thoughts, make sure your practice or your meditation is are going to be the right directions. So many people think, when we talk about practice Dharma, everybody's first thing about, doing meditation. Yes, it is so important. So before we do meditation, before we practice, any kinds of practices, so we must know how to practice. So that's why the Lamrim class is very important. So in class we have 2.5 hours a week. You cannot learn much. Therefore, every day you must have a particular time in the morning, afternoon, evening. When you have a free time, read the Lamrim books, a few pages, and make a conclusion. Then, based on the explanation, that you can try to practice the Lamrim. So in this Lamrim, actually I said many times, it's a very kind of thick book for you. So sometimes it's so difficult to understand, because even though you are English speaker, you are educated, but when you read this book, sometimes you have difficult to know the meaning, because it's translated based on Tibetan language to English. That's why sometimes you can see, bit difficult to understand. If you don't understand, please, just make a mark. And when we have a class, then you can ask question. Then all the knowledge, all the information which is you got, from Lamrim class, from other teaching, from other masters, other books, wherever you got all the information about Dharma, you just put into practice is most important. Otherwise, for example, today is like a Saturday weekend, so usually you have to do so many things. Even though despite doing these things, you still try to stay calm, TBC, to attend the Lamrim class. You don't practice if you don't use the information which you got from Lamrim, the methods, the means which you learn from Lamrim or other books. If you don't put into practice, it doesn't become very useful. So everybody try to practice as much as you can. The practice doesn't mean for example you have to go retreat for few weeks or a few months. If you could, very nice. If you cannot, why not? You just do your practice in your rooms, in your bedroom, or even though in your bathroom, you can do the practice everywhere. So please everybody, don't forget to practice when the Dharma is necessary. So when you are okay with the kind of any condition, you don't have any problems. For example, the weather is so nice, you have a good breakfast and lunch, so you don't have any disturbing thing in your mind, then your mind is so peaceful, very calm. And that moment, if you study Lamrim, for you very easy to understand, very easy to practice. When you have a lot of disturbing thing in your mind, when you are very difficult situation, and that moment you try to put the Lamrim into practice to reduce the difficult situation. If you able to do this kind of practice when you have a problems, when you have a difficult situation, that means then you are quite good practitioner. That means you are quite good Lamrim practitioner. When you have a lot of difficulties, you are facing a lot of problems, at that moment you cannot practice any dharmas. You cannot use any kinds of methods and means. That means you are not good practitioner. You are not good Buddhist practitioner. So the Dharma is very necessary, very, very useful when you have physical problems, mental problems, when you have environment problems, food problems. When you use the Dharma, if that time if your mind become more calm and more happy, that means your practice is going the right directions. For example, this morning I was reading Lamrim here. Then suddenly, a strange person just entered in the center. He just, jumping in the, with a very angry. Pastor, I didn't say anything. Then I said, excuse me, are you okay? He said, no, I'm not okay. Then, would you like to drink water? No. I don't need water. I need a peace. Doing like this. Totally look crazy. Then I said, okay, sit down. Then he seated. Then I asked, what was the problem? Actually, the problem was very simple. But is it true or not? Somebody, tweet something in using his name in the Facebook. Somebody read something, using his name. Maybe somebody entered in his Facebook and they, upload photos, or maybe they wrote something. His parent called him. I think they, totally criticized that he wasn't happy about that. And also he had a phone. When he got angry, he smashed his phone. The broken phone in his hand. Then I explained, if the truth by you must accept is your faults. You must say sorry whoever you say bad thing about. You must accept, say sorry to the person. If the things not really done by you, then you don't have to be upset. You don't have to be angry because you haven't this thing. Nothing. You are wrongs. Then he think about that. Then he, tried to change the way of thinking. Then within 20 minutes, he become very calm. Then he speak, very normal way. So that's why, when we get, very upset and angry, so we also become like that, totally become crazy. So that time, we need a dharma. That time, we need to practice the dharmas. I said it to all of you many times, even though you have a long list of medicine, and you bought all the medicine from pharmacy, you have a medicine your bag is full of medicine. You have a headache medicine, you have a stomach medicine, you have a diabetes medicine, you have BP, all medicines in your bag. So when you get stomach ache, you never take the medicine which you already have in your bag. Or you try to buy a new medicine, or you just pray to Buddha to cure your stomach problem. Then you can see you already have medicine in your bag. You already learn how to practice dharmas from different masters, from different books. You already learn. You have the knowledge. You have the idea. When you need it, you don't apply the practices. You try to go to see some other master to get advice. Right? That's why I think sometimes, we are not really doing what we were supposed to do. So that's why if you don't want to use the medicine, first you should not get all the long lists of the medicine. After you get all the long lists, second you should think still, will I take all the medicine or not? If not, then you just check the list, which medicine you really want to eat, right? Then you think, yes, when I need, I will eat all the medicine. Yeah, then you can buy the medicine according to the list. But if you don't eat, then there's no point to have the long list, have the medicine. So everybody, try to practice, try to be happy person, after you study Lamrim, after you study Dharma, after you practice Dharma. So try to be more happier person, be honest person, be more compassionate person, be patient. Okay, so that's what I want to say beginning of the class. Then, so short revision. So in order to achieve Buddhahood, you must practice bodhicitta, one of the important practice. You can generate you can cultivate the bodhicitta through different lineage or through different methods. One is methods of exchanging 7 other. The second is methods of 7 cause and effect. So within the 7 cause and effect, great compassion is so important. In order to generate great compassion, you need to practice 3 things. Recognize all sentient beings as your mother. Remember their kindness. Wish to repay their kindness. In order to recognize all sentient beings, you must have a good understanding about the previous life and next life. In order to have a conviction about previous life, then you must think, how your life was look like, how you are look like now. Then finally, the best logic to believe in previous life, you need to think, I have a physical body, I have a mind. The gross physical body, come from my parents. But my mind, my attachment, my desire, my compassion, my kindness, tolerance, those are not really come from my parents. Those are not only, come from your brain. Those are come from, your previous life. Then you can really have a conviction about your next life. Then how many next life we had? 1, 2, 10, 100. That means you had hundreds of thousands of millions of previous life. Countless life you already taken. That means you have a countless mother, you have a countless father, relatives. Finally, you can see all sentient being, used to be your mother, your, dear mother. When you think, all sentient being as your dear mother, suddenly you can generate love and compassion. So after you recognize their mother, all sentient beings as mother, they remember their kindness. In order to remember all sentient beings are so kind to you, first you remember your mother is so kind to you when you are, baby. When we were in mother's stomach. And that time the mother, took care for us for many months, more than 9 months. During the 9 months, she has a lot of difficulties. Even though she got sick, even though she faced all the sickness and problems, she always think about the baby in stomach. That time, mother, think my baby is more important than my life. So first you remember how your mom is so kind to you this life. Then all sentient beings used to be same like this mother. Then second you think how they are so kind. So how I can repay their kindness. There are so many different ways you can repay their kindness. The best if you give them lasting, provide lasting happiness. If you able to bring all of them into nirvana or Buddhahood, this is the best way to repay their kindness. Remember kindness and repay their kindness, then certainly you able to generate great compassion. When before you generate compassion, great compassion, you must remember there's, how you generate great compassion, how you can generate equanimity. So without generate equanimity, without having sense of equal or sentient being, you cannot have a great compassion. That's what you must know. Then slowly, great compassion. Then in the sixth is enthusiasm. So the meaning of enthusiasm is when you fully realized, fully understood all sentient beings are so kind, so important for you, you wish to repay their kindness. How? Then you need to take responsibility in your mind. I will have, the responsibility, not only have, I will take the responsibility to bring all sentient being to Buddhahood. Then your mind's, close to be Bodhicitta. So after you generate, the frame or your stable bodhicitta, then, the aspirational bodhicitta. In order to change the bodhicitta into, the aspirational bodhicitta, then you need to take a commitment or vows. So you commitment, you can take a two different, in front of your master, in front of, Buddha and Bodhisattvas. If you have your master, you can ask your master to, give the vows. Then, when you take a vow, so very importantly, I explained many times, I said many times, when you are taking the expressional vows, you need to focus the bodhicitta in front of the Guru, in front of the Buddha, Bodhisattva. So you need to think the bodhicitta in your mind. The bodhicitta is so important. I will practice I practice the mind, I practice the bodhicitta, until I will become a Buddha. That means you are making commitment based on the bodhicitta in front of the Buddha, in front of your gurus. Then, so you must practice the bodhicitta for this life as well next life. Then, in order to, further generate the bodhicitta, then there are, the four conditions, four practices, not, weaken the bodhicitta in this life. And there's four other practices, make sure the bodhicitta is not weakened in next life. Then the second, you have a very strong desire, a very strong wishing, a very strong aspiration to achieve Buddhahood, but you are not really engaged in the practice of Bodhisattva deeds. That means, some of you are going to go to Dharamsala to receive teaching. Right now you have a strong motivation, strong aspiration to go to Dharamsala, receive the teaching, but you are not really, moving towards to Dharamsala. So when you have preparation, all the preparation is done. Now you are, going by car, going aeroplane, going taxi. That means you are approaching, you are going close to, Dharamsala. That means after you generate bodhicitta, then you need to practice the six, perfections, six paramitas. Then, so between, six paramita and bodhicitta, then there's a very important, view from the Hasang. Then I told the history. So mainly what, the Chinese master said in Tibet that time, he said, in order to achieve Buddhahood, you need to practice only emptiness. Emptiness. You don't have to practice any other, great compassion, love, bodhicitta. You don't have to practice. Then somebody asked, why? Then why Buddha taught all the practices? That he said, Buddha taught this, practices to the person who not able to understand emptiness. If you fully understand emptiness, then you don't need to practice other practice. Right? This is what the Hasang think. Second, according to Hasang, what does mean, meditate on emptiness? When you meditate on emptiness, you should not have any thoughts. You should not have any kind of object in your mind. That means your mind totally, clear. For example, when you look at, something, your mind is holding an object. Your mind is focused on an object. So according to Hasang, when you meditate on emptiness, he said, you should not have any thoughts. That means, meditating on emptiness. Then there's a lot of, debate between the Chinese master Hasang and Kamala Shila. So Kamala Shila finally, proved him his view is wrong. His way of thinking is wrong. So until we finish, this. Next, then I ask you, few homework. So what is the homework number 1? Huh? Oh, okay. Now the point is come here. So we suppose we everybody wish to achieve Buddhahood. So that means our goal is so so big. Our goal is so big, Buddhahood. How we can achieve Buddhahood? So we need to practice wisdom and methods. Hassan said, don't need to practice methods, only wisdom, which is emptiness. So we reject it. So we said, in order to achieve Buddhahood, we need to practice wisdom and methods. Okay. So according to Lamrim, this text, what does mean methods? What does mean wisdom? Methods. Methods. What does mean methods and wisdom? Six perfections? No. The meaning of methods. If you read all the pages, the wisdom is like a mother. The methods is like a father. Do you know the analogy? Right? So now there's a different level of wisdom. So now we are talking about the wisdom which is realize emptiness. Right? The wisdom which is realize emptiness is the wisdom. But I don't know exact meaning of wisdom. We didn't call share up, great knowledge, great, the greatest knowledge. Prajna, greatest knowledge, share up. Because this means knowing is a share. Rab means the greatest knowing. That means knowing impermanence is also included into wisdom. Knowing the reality of cause and effect also included into wisdom. Then this greatest means knowing emptiness is the the greatest knowledge is a wisdom. Why wisdom is look like mother? Why the wisdom is look like mother? Huh? Why not the father? Father also give birth to children.
The analogy is like the father is the king, then the son will be a king one day.
Okay.
The king cannot give birth to baby.
Okay, in page number 3, we have every day we read that text. First, the second, third paragraph, right? I prostrate to the mother of the Buddha and of the hearer and Bodhisattvas, right? Look at, I prostrate to the mother of Buddhas, then mothers of hearers, mother of Bodhisattvas. Here, mother referred to whom? Wisdom, which is knowing emptiness. So the emptiness is mother of the Buddhas. The emptiness is the mother of the hearers, mother of the Bodhisattvas. Actually, that means the wisdom is look like mother, right? That's why wisdom is like a mother. Doesn't matter the king After king, what with us a different caste?
Minister?
No, minister.
Yeah.
Let's say like king, Burmese, like say Singaporean, Chinese, Indian. When we differentiate, the different ethnic is based on traditionally on mother as father. My father is Indian, then I am Indian traditionally, and somebody father is Chinese, the person is Chinese. So the children, the children is belongs to which ethnic is depend on father, not the mother. It's not fair, actually. How is come? Because we call caste in English caste. What does mean caste? Actual meaning. We use born. Yeah, bone, flesh and bone, because we believe traditionally bone come from father and the flesh and everything come from mother. That's why we differentiate based on the bone, different bone. That's why the mother in emptiness is like a mother, because all the practitioner, the hearer or celebrity realizer, bodhisattva, everybody must practice emptiness. Everybody must have a mother. Mother is very common concept. Must have. Then how we can differentiate? This person is hearer. This person is solitary realizer. Why this person is bodhisattvas? It differentiates based on methods, not based on wisdom. Everybody equally practice wisdom, not equally, methods. For example, bodhisattva practice what? Bodhicitta. Then hearer and solitary realizer practice renunciation and emptiness. Renunciation and emptiness. That's me look at they the bodhisattvas and non-bodhisattvas mainly differentiate based on bodhicitta. That means bodhicitta is methods. Methods look like father. We can differentiate different ethnics based on father. Okay. Now wisdom here referred to emptiness. The wisdom which is realized emptiness. The mind which is realized emptiness is called wisdom. Shut up. Then methods. Bodhicitta. Actually, all practices of bodhisattvas, practices of hearer or solitary, all practices must include into two practices: practice of wisdom, practice of methods. For example, when you meditate on death, meditate on impermanence, meditate on emptiness, selflessness, that time you are meditating on wisdom. You are practicing wisdom, not methods. When you generate great compassion, when you meditate, generate renunciation, you are practicing methods, not wisdom. Okay, wisdom means merely knowing the reality. Knowing the reality of certain amount of knowing the certain amount of reality. But this is wisdom. Methods here refer to bodhicitta, great compassion, kindness, love. All of this include into methods. Okay, wisdom methods according to Lamrim. Then according to Vajrayana, the methods and wisdom meaning is different. So we can learn next future. Now, according to Lamrim, how you can practice wisdom and methods unionly together? How you can practice it together? But they say, if you practice separately, right? Do you remember what Lamrim said? if you practice wisdom, either method separately, you cannot achieve Buddhahood. Okay? So, how you can practice wisdom and methods unionly? Do you remember what word used in the English book?
Conjoin.
No, that means you didn't read completely. Huh? Bond twist, right? Bound twist? Huh? No bondage. No. That means all of you didn't read, page by page. Okay. Bond B-O. No, T-U something. Bontius or Bontius, right? Okay, let's see. I read but don't remember the words. Bontute something. Huh? B? No, this is a bondage. Wisdom. Oh, sorry. Imbued. Oh. Okay. IMBUED. Imbued. Okay. Okay, don't look at your textbook. Okay. So, how you can practice wisdom and methods unionly or together, according to Lamrim? Okay, no good homework. Huh?
By using the methods, that's the means to getting wisdom, which is why.
Yeah, it's according to Lamrim.
Together. Yeah, that's what it says. It kind of says that by using the methods is the means to get wisdom.
Okay.
You can't have one without the other.
That means using the methods means to.
It's the cause for compassion. So it's almost
Okay. Do you remember the analogy? Don't look at Lamrim. Huh? Example of the bond imbued. That analogy, remember? Huh?
The likeness of the king.
No. Lamrim. Likeness? Do you remember the mother who lost the dear child? No. Okay, that means I think none of you read, the complete Lamrim. Okay. Feelings she expressed do not eliminate the force of the grief. You're not even feeling. Page number 94. When a mother, stricken with the grief at the death of her beloved child, engaged in conversation and other activities. Okay. No king of the light, huh? Okay. That's means, okay. So this is the analogy. Now you just think about how you can practice methods and wisdom. For example, mother has a beloved child. So she lost the child. Then she has strong grief, very strong kind of disappointment, very strong sadness in her mind. Then she was speaking with someone. She was eating or something, but she still remember the child.
That conjoin, right, Geshe-la, I remember the terms that we use.
Yeah. I say go to Lamrim, conjoin. That's why I asked you to homework. Anyway, conjoin. Yes, we use conjoin. Imbued. This is the analogy. Now you go the actual practice. How you can practice wisdom and methods together? Because when you what's the why this analogy is so important? When you really fully meditate on emptiness, that moment you have only one mind, which is realized emptiness. That time there are no great compassion, no bodhicitta, not there. When you fully meditate on great compassion, bodhicitta, that time there only the bodhicitta, not the mind which is realized emptiness, not there. For example, when you really get angry towards your friend, your parents, you are really very angry, to the person. That time, you don't have any compassion to the person, right? No more there. When there's a full compassion, no anger. Then, same thing, when there's a bodhicitta arise, wisdom no there. When the wisdom arise, not bodhicitta there. Then how you can practice together? Then look the analogy. So that's why each time, for example, in the morning, before you do, light offering, prostration, whatever you do, the good action, any kind of good action, before you start to do the good action, first you fully generate great compassion, bodhicitta, fully, generate bodhicitta very strongly. Then within the good motivation of, by great compassion, motivation, which start the good action based on great compassion. Then the force is always there, the force of great compassion, the force of bodhicitta is always there. Then you engage in any kinds of activities. Then all the activities conjoin, imbued, right? Imbued. Okay, anyway, so you know the words. Conjoin with the great compassion. When you acting, when you doing the different action, that time the great compassion not arise arise, but it's still force is still there. The force is still there. The energy is still there. That means you are practicing, like giving and prostration, making offering, whatever. It is conjoined with the great compassion. It's same thing, emptiness. So before you practice, bodhicitta, great compassion, before you, do your daily, routine practice, first at the beginning you just, realize to emptiness, fully meditate on emptiness. Then slowly you start your practices. All the practices, conjoin with the wisdom of emptiness. That means, it's always together. The mind is not always together, the force is there. Okay, this is the first we, start to understand wisdom and methods. Second, we try to learn how we can practice together, not separately. This is second homework. Now, what is the third homework? Why? How you already learn how to practice wisdom and methods together, not separately. The third, why? Why you need to practice wisdom and methods? Why is so important?
If it's done separately, you won't get
Yeah. So why is so important? Yeah, then there's particular, right? Yes, in order to achieve Buddhahood, you must practice both of them together, not separately, not solidly, isolatedly. You must together. Then it's mentioned particularly why is so important wisdom, why metta is so important. Then it's make a connection with the Buddhahood. According to Lamrim, it's explained particularly when Tsongkhapa, criticized the Hasang view. Hasang says, when you practice, you should not practice methods and wisdom. You practice only wisdom. Then Tsongkhapa says, when you achieve Buddhahood, you have a true kaya, Rupa kaya and Dharma kaya. Okay, Rupa kaya, Dharma kaya. So, because in order to, give a lot of benefits towards all sentient beings, you must achieve the Dharmakaya. What does mean Dharmakaya? Omniscient. Okay. Look at. If you're not able to achieve Dharmakaya, if you're not able to achieve, Dharmakaya, then your mind is always with the negative emotion. That means your mind is not so pure. Still, contaminated by afflictive emotions. When your mind is totally become pure, that means cessation. Dharmakaya mainly for yourself. Rupakaya mainly for others. Okay? That means the wisdom, now you need to see wisdom. So when you meditate on emptiness, you can meditate on emptiness on any phenomena. Okay? Generally, you can meditate on emptiness of the table. You can meditate on emptiness of the house, any phenomena. But finally, so for example, before you reach to the seeing path, before you accomplish the seeing path state, you must meditate on emptiness on the mind. Then finally, we talk about the non-dual. Duality, then non-dual. What does mean non-dual? There's no two things, right? Duality means there's two things always there. Non-duality means there's no two things. For example, one cup of, half cup of water, half cup of milk. There's two separate there. If you put one in one cup, then there's no two. Water, milk become just, one treatise, one test. Look like oneness. For example, when you meditate on emptiness of the table, that means the mind is within you. Right? Your mind is within you. So when you meditate on the table of emptiness, then there's a two things there. That emptiness of table is here, my mind is here. There's a true, there's a duality. When you meditate on emptiness of your own mind, then the mind is the subject, right? Who focus the object. The emptiness of the mind is subject. That time, mind and emptiness of the mind is no separate.
Sorry, repeat again. Sorry.
Right? For example, first I said when you meditate on emptiness of the table, that moment the subject and object is two separate phenomena. Because emptiness of the table is the characteristic of the table. It belongs to the table. The mind belongs to you. There's a mind in the emptiness table is separate. Two, different entity, two different phenomena. Clear? When you meditate on your own mind, emptiness of your own mind, that time the subject is your mind. The object is emptiness of your mind. That time there's no separate subject and object. Subject is just focused to the emptiness which is the characteristic of our mind. That's why finally wisdom, for example, when you meditate on the table, so you can reduce the grasping of the table. When you eliminate the grasping of your mind, then there's no any other grasping. Your mind becomes very pure. Slowly, when you become a Buddha, then finally the wisdom which you talk about, the mind is the wisdom, which is knowing the emptiness of your mind. Finally, the minds, this moment mind will become Dharmakaya, which is roughly said Dharmakaya. Then mainly when you practice wisdom, is practice for what? Eliminating your negative emotion, ignorance. That means finally the Dharmakaya come mainly based on your wisdom. Then in order to achieve Dharmakaya, you need to practice wisdom. Second, Rupakaya. Rupakaya or the Buddha body. So if you have only mind, not body, how you can, how other people can see you, how you can benefit others, you must have a body. Right? So the Buddha body, when you become a Buddha, when you become a Buddha, you have a pure body. The body arises based on what? Methods. Great compassion, kindness, tolerance, so and so. We have two types of merit, right? Two types of sambara, two types of merit. Merit of wisdom, merit of methods. When you practice methods, you are accumulating a lot of merit. The merit is the kind of man condition, cause and condition to arise Rupakaya. So wish to achieve Rupakaya, Dharmakaya, at the moment, this moment, we need to practice two. Then there's a important, I think, Songapa differentiate here. I will make a mark. Okay, page number 94. No, the last sentence of the first paragraph. Know also that this is how methods and wisdom are inseparable. Right? That means you must practice wisdom methods, because the wisdom can be real cause of the Dharmakaya. The methods is main cause of the Rupakaya. Then the next sentence, second paragraph, first and second, third paragraph. Furthermore, you should not misconstruct statement that thing, right? You should not have a kind of misunderstanding that things in second existence, such as your body, resource, and long life, because a long lifespan are the result of the collection of merit. Someday we said, right, if you accumulated this merit, you're going to have a long life, you're going to have a good source, you have a body, we're saying usually. That's why look at it, say very clearly, furthermore, you should not misconstruct statement that things in second existence, such as your body, resource, and long lifespan are the result of collections of merit. Right? We said this. There is Tsongkhapa said here, they are so only in the absence of skill in means and wisdom. Absence. Right? They are so only in the absence of skill in means and wisdom. When collection of merits are, imbued with this, is entirely proper that they are the cause of liberation and omniscience. Liberation here, let's say, the cessation and omniscience. There are limitless passages in the scripture. Clear? That means when you practice, for example, generosity, only generosity, absence of wisdom and methods, right? Then generosity can be cause of the resource. You can have a lot of good resource. So if you practice, Shila, if you practice only Shila, absence of methods and wisdom, then you can have a, beautiful body in the second existence. If you practice generosity, conjoined, imbued with the wisdom, then the generosity can be cause of the Buddha body. So that's why I think I said many times, we should not mix good karma and merit. Because we always make, you accumulated good merit, we should not mix positive karma and merit, or virtues and merit is not exactly the same. For example, if I give, $1 to the needed, without generate, bodhicitta, great compassion, or just wisdom, we just give $1 to the needed. I accumulate what? Virtues, positive karma, not merit. If I give $1 to the needed with the generate, with the wisdom and methods, one of them, with the methods, then the generosity can be cause of the omniscience or liberation. This, we learn so important thing. So why not? We always, whatever we practice, whatever we do, good things, always conjoin with the methods or wisdom. Then look at the giving thing is same, $1. Right? Giving thing is just $1. The result is big, huge difference. That's why you can see in Buddhism, the result is really good, great, good, so very bad. It depend on the motivation, not depend on the thing which is you giving. So that means you have to practice wisdom and methods unionly. Otherwise you cannot achieve Rupakaya, Dharmakaya. Right? Page number what? Page number 94. Then next one. When the collection of merit are imbued with this, it is entirely proper that they are the cause of the liberation and omniscience. Okay, please keep in your mind because you cannot, remember all the words. Then there are limitless passages in the scripture which say in much as the one of the. Then look at next one. Nagarjuna said, to sum up, the embodiment of the form or king is born from the collection of merit. That means, the embodiment of Buddha body, the omniscience, born or produce or arise from the collection of merit. Okay, next, another question for you. So do you remember next we have to study the sixth perfection? So before the page number 99, so before page number 99, how Tsongkhapa, proof which means we must practice six paramitas. Do you remember in Lamrim? How Tsongkhapa explained we must practice six paramitas. If you're missing one, then do you remember the analogy? Huh? Okay, so the analogy is the painter, painting and painter. Painter, do you remember? Painter and painting. So the painters, there's not only one, there's six painters. The six painters are the analogy of the six paramitas. The complete painting is like a, Buddhahood. Now you can, associate the painters and paintings, six paramitas and Buddhahood. Oh, look like none of you read this one, huh? It's okay, I know, your life is so busy. Okay, what say here, there are, six painters. Each of them has a very unique arts, unique, skill. One painter can paint only the head, finger, one leg, and so and so. If missing one painter, the picture cannot be complete. This is an analogy. Huh? Yeah. Second, the picture is an analogy of the Buddhahood. Painters, the painters are the analogy of the six paramitas practice. If you're missing one, you cannot achieve Buddhahood. Right? And even though one can draw the complete head of the Buddha, one can draw leg and hands. What about if the painter come different time? Someone come yesterday, and someone come after 3 days, someone come after 4 days. Can you think the picture will be complete? No, they must work together, right? Must work together. Otherwise, there can be a picture, not really complete picture. That's why we must practice six paramitas. Otherwise, it looks like missing, one painters. All painters work together. That means six paramita practice together. Practice together. This is the analogy. Okay, now I think we should we start a new lessons. Okay. Okay, we can have a break, then we can start a new lesson. If you have any question before break, so we can have a time for question answer.
Before or after?
Okay?
Before or after the
Before is better.
Well, just wondering about the energy you mentioned before you make offerings and prostrations and all.
Mhm.
Develop that energy. So once you have the energy, does it stay with you throughout the day, or it just stays a couple of hours and you have to keep generating that energy?
It's a very simple way to say. I think everybody have is a bad words. The bad words, right? W-O-R-D.
Words?
Bad words, but it's, I think, a nice way to say is I don't think everybody have a experience of really loving with the iPhone. Somebody like iPhone, somebody doesn't like iPhone, somebody like Samsung phone. We don't have a common thing. Everybody say we like. Most of say I think everybody has a experience to falling in love with someone. Everybody has the experience, to falling in love with someone. Then, wherever you go, whatever you do, whatever you think, the sense of falling in love is always there. Even though, when you're eating, you miss the person. When you're chatting with your friend, you're still missing someone. Yeah, deep down. The force is stay there. How many hours is depend on how long your mind familiar with the practice. If your mind is very familiar with the great compassion, very familiar, the great compassion stay within your mind for 24 hours. 24 hours. If your mind is familiar with the great compassion, medium, maybe few hours, then it's gone. That's why the meditation meaning you always try to familiar your mind with the compassion, love, tolerance, whatever. Always first you try to closer as much as you can the compassion. Then the compassion always there. It depends on how your mind is familiar with the compassion, bodhicitta, emptiness. That's why traditionally the practitioner have to practice, whatever practice for almost 24 hours. That's why 6 session Guru Yoga. Morning, His Holiness said, it is look like boiling a water. In Ladakh, he said, boiling water. Once you boil water, if you don't add wood, the water is slowly going to cool. So you have to add continuously the wood, the water boiling continuously. That means, the practice of, the meditation of compassion always there. Then the force of compassion is there. It depends on how you are, how long you are familiar with the practice. Any question?
It's like, as you move about with your daily life, you put it in the back of your mind, in your subconscious, to generate it continuously?
You can use the subconscious, but the subconscious and the familiar is different.
Okay.
Because subconscious mean, so for example, you're not supposed to do bad thing. Somehow you don't have any choice. You are doing the bad thing, but in your deep down, what you are saying, no good. You should not do it. There's something like this. This goes subconscious. We know like this. Here not like that. For example, morning you saw very bad accident on the road. Very bad accident. The car is total smash on the road. Total very bad accident. When you saw the big accident, very bad accident, you got very strong memory in your mind, right? Strong memory, strong expression. And when you go your home, when you eat, you just just remember this. So the kanjon is like this. This you have this mind with you all the time. Any question? Yes.
So adding to this question, means until we become Buddha, even at the age with every day we practice.
Maybe someday you can have holiday. That's why what Jan Zeba said. You must have a practice of or study of Paranjana Paramita. Lam Thachajin la Shun Chajin la Yamlendan. Oh yeah. Practice of the Paranjana Paramita, the text. You must practice and you must study the text of the Paranjana Paramita until you become a Buddha. You must practice the 6 paramitas until you become a Buddha. Yes. Because becoming Buddha is your goal, right? So you are here. If you stop somewhere, you're not going to reach there. So you have to practice every day all the way to become a Buddha. If you stop somewhere, you cannot. For example, you graduating university. First grade, second grade is 10 and plus 2 high school, college. If you stop somewhere, you're going to get your graduation. Yes, you have to practice until you become Buddha. No holiday. Okay, so.
Can I just add on? But if you're not actually aware of everything all the time until something, is it when something happens that's when you generate it? So you're not actually thinking about it the whole time, 24/7. But when something triggers,
Yeah.
so you see someone and you immediately feel great compassion, or someone does something wrong and you think, I'm not going to be angry because. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. So it's there. It's underlying, if you like.
Okay, so look at everybody. You except me, I think. Everybody have all of you graduate. Except me. Look at when you go in the kindergarten, you learn something in the morning in school. When you come to your home, you forgot. Right? You forgot. Next, you learn again. Come back, you forget a little bit. You remember a little bit something. But for the 15 years. Then yes, when I was young, I learned, I forget, but it continues to study for 15 or 20 years, you finally you have a complete graduation. This was same thing. Do you remember the story of Beng Ko Yel, the robber? So he was, robber. So during the day he hide in the mountain. Night he comes and rob all the villagers. Hide and rob, hold almost many years. The one day he was walking towards the village. Do you remember the one old lady saw him? The lady thought, oh, he must be Beng Koyal. He asked, are you Beng Koyal? He said, yes, I am. Then the old lady fang. Right? Become so scared, become unconscious, so scared. Then Beng Koya realized how I am, bad man. Then he says, since today I must stop to doing the bad things. Then he, become very renounced. He's, totally give up doing the bad thing. Then he did experiment himself. He have black stones, maybe 100 black stone, 100 white stone. He just sit there. No chanting, no mandara. He just sit there. Bad thought come, he put one black stone. 2 bad thought, 2, 3. And in the evening, he check. First few months, only black stone, no white stone. Still he, try to, have good thoughts. Then one day, 1 stone, maybe 90 black. Then next month, 10 stone, 10 white stone, 99 black stone. In the evening he said, when he saw just one white stone, because he was very honest, he said, "Oh, Ben Goyal, you are a great man. You did good job." He leap up, he praised himself. Then slowly, then he become, one of the famous practitioner in Lama. So yes, of course, how, that's why we have one problem as a, as a practitioner or as a Buddhist. When you hear the teaching, you got very strong aspiration to do practice. Then when you start, you can do few minutes. Then you cannot, you forgot or you feel tired, you give up. Then next you thought, no, I cannot, because yesterday I tried, I couldn't do this, I don't want to do anymore. That's why I would say, I hope you remember in the Buddhist way of life, Shantideva said, I don't care the time, 10 years, 10 millions, 10 billions, I don't care the time. I will practice continuously. So yes, it's very common. You can practice someday, few hours, then you have a bad thoughts, and you repair the bad thoughts. Slowly you can have a lot of good thought, less bad thoughts. This is very common. Very, very common. Otherwise, I think most Buddhist people become Buddha. That's why, it's okay. Any question? No more, then we can have a break. So, the first paragraph in the page number 96. Also, I think the question asked by Kiran. Therefore, since there's no time when it is not necessary to practice these deeds, this means the sixth perfection, until you become a Buddha. So then next, so that means we have to practice the six perfections until we become a Buddha. Then it is incumbent upon you to turn in these deeds. You stop right now from the depth of your heart. Even though we know the six paramitas, we need to practice until become Buddha. But at this moment, some of the practice we so difficult, so we cannot practice. But look at, if you stop right now from the depth of your heart, you will accomplish with effort what you can achieve. So this is very important. Even though some practice we know we're supposed to practice, but in this moment, we cannot. But we should think, have a strong aspiration and put effort that you can achieve. So if your motivation is very sincere, very, very pure to practice Dharma, then you can put effort. At the same time, you do some kind of accumulation of merit, then you can achieve. With respect to the practice of this, you are unable to do for this time being, make an aspiration to do them and a cause for the ability to practice them. Accumulate the collections, right? Is very good advice. That means, yes, we know we have to practice, but we cannot. For example, now as a Singaporean, you are always, always be busy, have to be busy. You wish to practice certain thing, but you cannot. Also sometimes, you really, particularly, you have to practice certain things, very important, that due to the, environment, due to the society, you cannot. Then what should you do? That may say, Tsongkhapa said, with respect to the practice that you are unable to do for the time being, make an aspiration to do them and a cause for the ability to practice them. Accumulate the collection, clear away the obscuration, and make many aspirational prayers. Once you do this, it will not be long before you put them into practice. Otherwise, if you take the position that you are personal cannot understand that this or cannot do them, and you then say to other, you do not need to. That's why also it's talking about Hashang. So you yourself not doing all the practices. Also, you are saying, other people you should not do. This means mainly saying is no good. You do not need to turn in them. Not only do run yourself and run on others as well, but it is also become a condition for the decline of the teaching. So do not do this. That's mainly Tsongkhapa giving advice. Certain practice we cannot practice at the moment. Also, if you really think, from your depth of your heart, then why not, you just do a lot of, aspiration, lot of prayers, do some accumulation, particularly that reason, then you're going to achieve. So, related to, I will say something, related to the accumulation merit, I always say, the things are not that important. Important is the motivation. Then I gave you the example. There were two people who were crossing the mountain. Remember that story? That in Tibet there were two people who were crossing the mountain. And at the top of the mountain, at that time they were raining. And top of the mountain they saw a Buddha statue, made of the clay. The one person thought, it's going to be, ruined by the raining. So he didn't find anything around. He saw just old shoes. He just covered the shoes, the Buddha, to protect the Buddha statue. He left. The second time another person came, he saw, someone covered the shoes, on the Buddha. He thought it's not good idea. He removed the shoes and he bring the statue, put in the safe or, place. Then he feels so bad. The person wasn't good because he just, covered the shoes on it. Then he asked one of the master. The master says, both of you accumulate equal merit because it's motivation. The person who covered shoes, he didn't have any bad motivation. He has a good motivation. This way, as most of everybody including middle family, you don't have so many things to give away. You don't have a lot of money to offer. Billions of light and flower, doesn't matter. Even though you lit a single light, just hold the light in your hands, then generate, great compassion. For example, Adisha said, you just hold the light in your hand. You just have a strong wishing or strong aspiration. You think, the candle, inside the candle is so little. You just imagine the candle is vast as an ocean. And within the candle there's a what do you call? Wick. It's so small. You just imagine it's so huge. It's a touch, can touch to the formless or formless realms. Just imagine the light is shone as a more shining than the sun and moon. You just imagine, and then you think, I'm going to lead the light, I'm going to offer this light to the Buddha to eliminate all the darkness of ignorance, all the darkness of negative emotion, negative thoughts of all sentient beings. I'm leading the light, eliminate all the disease and sickness of all sentient beings. I lead in the light, to achieve Buddhahood, to benefit all sentient beings. Then you just lead the light. The light is so small and tiny. The imagination is so big. The motivation is so great. Even though you offer fruit, flower, incense, just generate great, motivation. This, then also, particularly when you read, when you practice dharma, certainly most time you have a sudden problem. Then sometimes you can do, you can do the light offering, you can do the food offering. I'm doing this offering to particularly, clear this obscuration. This obscuration always block me to practice of dharma. This obscuration always block me to, understand of dharma. You just particularly focus the obscuration, and, pray to the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Also, generate great compassion all sentient beings. That's why what Buddha say, sentient beings and Buddha are equal to accumulate merit. Sentient beings and Buddha are equal to accumulate merit. You can accumulate merit as much, rely on Buddha. Also, you can accumulate merit, rely on sentient beings. That's why, do you remember what Shantideva said? We can benefit from Buddhas, also we can benefit from sentient beings. We can also accumulate from merit, rely on Buddha, also we can accumulate merit, rely on sentient beings. Why you are making discrimination between Buddha and sentient beings? Because we have a strong respectful into Buddha. You never say, Buddha, you are bad. Can you say? Buddha, you are bad. Manjushri, you are bad. Can you say? Cannot. But you can say easily someone, you are very bad. I hate you, right? But you cannot say to Buddha. That's why we discriminate. Buddha is more important than the sentient being. Without sentient being, how you can practice great compassion, bodhicitta, renunciation, practice of, you cannot. That's why, so in order to, accomplish your practice, in order to, know deeper level of the Dharma, if you have some obstacle, that means, just remember the obstacle and do, accumulate some merit, do some, pray and chanting, and wish to, eliminate the particular obstacle. This is very important advice by Lama Tsongkhapa, also Kadampa. Not only that, related to the, these prayers, look at, somehow, so far we have this physical body, this definitely we can have a lot of, we can sick, we can have a sickness, we're going to sick. When you have a sickness, the simple practice, you just think, today I am sick, today I have a very strong headache, I have a stomach ache, I have, this problem, that problem. Just think, I have a headache. So, when I feel the, the unpleasant, the experience, you just think all sentient beings who's supposed to have a headache, so who's supposed to have a headache, this headache must be, repent on me. The sentient being who's supposed to have a, serious kind of problems also, repent on me. That means that if you think this way, then your, the headache or problem become very small. So you can pray this way, then you can, you're going to understand the Lamrim, you also going to accomplish your practices. Then now we'll start, the 6 paramitas, page number 102. Go straight to the, I think, page number 102. Explanation of the process of the learning precepts. It has a 2. How to train in the Mahayana in general. How to train specifically in the Vajrayana practice. That means there's a 2 subheadings. Right? In general, how we can practice Mahayana path. Second, how to train how to practice in the Vajrayana path. The first has a three subheading: establishing the desire to learn the precept of the spiritual enlightenment, taking the vows of conqueror's children after establishing the desire to learn precept, how to turn after taking the vows. This means there are three subheadings. Right? This means in end of the Lamrim, Tsongkhapa going to explain very short way how to practice the Vajrayana. So number one, establishing the desire to learn, precept here mainly the deeds of the Bodhisattva, practice of the Bodhisattva, enlightenment. So this means here most important what you must remember the benefit of the bodhicitta. So once you remember the benefits of the bodhicitta, then you have a strong desire to learn or to practice of bodhicitta. So once you have a strong, desire, or desire can be true. You should not think desire always refer to, always like a bad thoughts. Because in Tibetan language we say doba, desire. Desire can be about two, one is positive, can be negative, can be just in neutral. If you have a strong desire to steal something, kill something, deceive someone, it's a desire but it's negative. You have a strong desire to help others, give us support others to a practice of Buddha teaching. This is a desire which is positive. Sometimes you have a strong desire to go for a walk, like me. I really like to go for a walk. It's just nature neutral, not positive, neither negative. Desire should not be not be always negative. First important, look at establishing the desire to learn the precept of this practice of bodhicitta. Changju semye lapa la lomde jonwa. Changju semye lapa. Second is taking the vows of the conqueror's children after establishing the desire to learn precept. When you go to say a strong, desire to practice the Bodhisattva's deeds, then you must take a vows. So you should not mix. In the previous we studied, how we can have a expressional vows. We use the vows. It's not really proper, the vows. It's making more commitment, right? Commitment, right? Remember commitment. That's why, and when we translate into English, then we use very similar, always same words, vows. In Tibetan, we said, take the Bodhisattva commitment. Taking the Bodhisattva commitment in front of your Guru or Buddha. When you make a commitment, you must, focus the Bodhisattva, bodhicitta, and make a commitment. Now is real talking about the real vows. So we have three types of vows. Number one, Pratimokkha vows. Second is Bodhisattva vows. Third is Vajrayana vows. Within the Pratimokkha vows, there are 8 different levels. As a lay person, you must, if you could, you must take the lay person vows. If you able to, maintain, you must take, the full, complete lay person vows. If you cannot, you take, certain vows. Then bodhicitta. So I think last time when we have Guru Yoga class, I remember I said to you, before you taking the Vajrayana vows, you must take the Bodhisattva vows. Without taking Bodhisattva vows, you cannot take the Vajrayana vows. Without taking any of the Pratimokkha vows, then you cannot take Bodhisattva vows. But certain master said, still is okay without taking any Pratimokkha vows, any of them, still you can take Bodhisattva vows. But we follow, the first one. Taking vows of the conqueror's children after establishing the desire to learn precept. This means, Tsongkhapa said very clearly, if you cannot, practice the 6 paramitas, then you should not take the Bodhisattva vows. You can just take, the aspirational vows. Then third one, how to chant, after taking the vows. That means there are 3 subheadings. So within the 3 vows, you must study what are the commitment before you taking the Bodhisattva vows. It's okay, you can study, you try to get the information. What are the perceived will be. You can study before you taking Bodhisattva vows. But Vinaya or you call Pratimokkha vows and Vajrayana vows, you cannot. You cannot study before you take the vows. Bodhisattva vows, yes, before you take the Bodhisattva vows, you can study, you can learn what are the commitment. That's why many monks said, actually we must know before we take before we took the Pratimokkha vow, we must know. Many monks said, after they already took taken vows, then they notice all these things we have to practice. It's very difficult. Why not allowed to study the Pratimokkha vows before they took the vows? Why not? Because it's an order, right? The first one is a beginner. The second is in the middle. Vajrayana is the last. For example, when you bring your kids in school, if you ask all the rules, you should not play, things. If you ask all the things, children won't go to school. Right? My case, my father asked me, sublime brothers, bring me to South India. Then he came to my home. Then he asked me, you must go with me. I bring you in South India. In South India, you have beautiful house. You have a beautiful bed. You have a separate mom who take after you. So I feel so happy. He must go, beautiful house, beautiful bed. Who always look after me. I feel it's true. Then I went there. When I was there, when I reached to there, I think 9 and 12 feet room, just one room. We slept first, I think 12 months. There's no common bathroom, even though no bathroom, no toilet, no mother, no bed. If he could tell me in South India, no bed, no bathroom, I won't go. That's why the Pratimokkha vow is the vow for the beginner. If they tell all the rules, nobody will take the vows. Okay, the bodhicitta vows is not that difficult. There's most vows more mentally. It's easy to understand, easy to maintain. The Vajrayana vow, why not study? Because also if you study all the vows before you taking the vows, also you won't take because you think it's so difficult. Something is, so difficult to believe. That's why first is cigarette, because make sure everybody will take the vows. Third is also, cigarette, because make sure everybody will understand. So that's why, after you fully, understand, fully generate bodhicitta, then you take the bodhicitta, bodhisattva vows. Look at this, taking the vows of the conqueror's children after establishing the desire to learn the precept. Precept, do you remember, refer to what? 6 paramitas. It's not talking about particular precepts. Then third, how to train after taking the vows. Then so there are 3 heading. Sometimes this word is not exactly as in Tibetan language. Yeah, in the discipline here, right? In the discipline of individual liberation, he's talking about the Pratimokhya vows, liberation, individual liberation, and the tantrics is inappropriate to study the precept before you have first taking in the vows. But the bodhisattva vows are the different, right? That means you can study the bodhisattva vows before you taking. The individual liberation vow is not. Why you use the individual liberation? Because in Sanskrit, the parti moksha, moksha or moksha, usually parti moksha, 2 words. Parti is, individual. Moksha means liberation. That's why when they translate into English, in Tibetan called sosor. Sosor means individual. Liberation means, tharba means liberation. That's why they use individual, liberation. Then, different. First, you understand the precept well, and then after you are trained in them, if you have enthusiasm for taking them, you are giving the vows in the regard of bodhisattva levels. That means, most of you, I think, already already took the bodhisattva vows. If you're going to take, bodhisattva vows, if you wish to, take the bodhisattva vows, you must study. Then for you, I think, very safe. Otherwise, already take vows. Then later you notice, I cannot do that. I cannot do this. It's a bit difficult. Then second subheading, taking the vows of the conqueror's children after establishing the desire to learn precept. I have already established in the detail in my basic path of knowing community of the bodhisattva level chapter. First, how to take the bodhisattva vows immediately after how to guide again the fundamental transgression and transgression which constitute manner infection. That this is, I think, another important one. So when you take a vows, look here. When you take a vows, doesn't matter, the individual vows or bodhisattva vows, vajrayana vows. There's always 2 types. One is we call root. Root, in Tibetan we call tsa. It's better to use the root vows. Second, we call branches vows. Why we use the root? For example, as bhikshu and bhikshuni, there are 4 root vows. Killing human being, have a sexual misconduct, and stealing the the valuable object, and lying. We call root. If you, engage in one of them, then you totally, destroy your complete vows, because root. For example, when you cut the root of the tree, all branches going to die. If you cut one of the branch, you cut the branches, but still the tree is there. So after you taking the vows, you must know which are the root, which are the branches. So when you against with the root, three things very important. Very important. Do you remember motivation? Second, kind of preparation, or Zorwa, Nguji, Juk. Yeah. First is a preparation. Second is the actual action. Third is the ending action. So before you engage, the particular action, even though you have very strong, complete motivation or preparation, the preparations are so complete. When you engage in the actual action, when you engage in the action, at that time the action is not that complete. Then you still against the vows, but you're not going to against the root vows. In order to against the root vows, this means the preparation must be complete, and the actual action must be very complete. The ending action also very complete. For example, Pratimokkha vows. For example, when the killing human being is one of the root vows. If you kill, say human being, so you totally, declare your vows no more there. Before you kill someone, for example, maybe you heard his first time. For example, I have a strong motivation. I have a strong, kind of motivation to kill Mr. A. I thought I should kill Mr. A. Then somehow, mistakenly, I kill Mr. B. That looked very similar. I killed Mr. B mistakenly. It doesn't mean, I total against my vows. I supposed to kill Mr. A, but mistakenly I killed Mr. B. This means I against the branches vow, not the root vows. Root vow. Because killing vow is most important is motivation. Make sure you are killing the person same as you have a motivation. Then second is the misconduct, sexual misconduct. The person thought, I'm going to have the relationship with it, A. Then somehow he, mistakenly have a relationship with the B. Then doesn't matter is a mistaken or not. Still, you're going to destroy your vows, because the sexual misconduct is not motivation is not more important. More important is the object. So, there are so many things you have to learn. But because in Lamrim, this Lamrim is written by Tsongkhapa mainly, the very academic way. Because, before, Tsongkhapa, Master Tsongkhapa, there's a Nyingma tradition, there's a Kagyupa tradition, Sakyapa tradition. Then, at that time, in Tibet, the tantric practice become very popular. Then many masters said, if you practice Tantrayana practice, you don't need to practice Sutrayana. You don't need to practice, all the practices, just practice Tantrayana. That's why This when Tsongkhapa, when he wrote this text, there was a lot of confusion, a lot of problems. Then he wrote this Lamrim mainly clarify all the the misunderstanding. That's why this is very academic way. You can see each statement he quoted. Lot of quotation from Sutrayana, quotation from Tantrayana, quotation from many masters. So for you, you don't have to remember all the quotation. Mainly you read 10 pages. Make a summarize. Make a summarize. What is really talk about? This this topic is mainly for me or not. If not, you just leave it there. You must read a few pages, make a summarize. Try to understand the essence. When you remember the essence, then it's okay. You don't remember the words because you remember the essence. You can for you very easy to practice. For example, vows. First you must know how many vows in the Bodhisattvas. How many the root vows, how many branches vow, which I must supposed to do, which I mustn't supposed to do. Just the list and just remember the list in your mind. You don't have to remember all of them. So because it's so thick, actually it's very very good. You can see it's a proof word by word. Okay, so I will stop here today. So next class will be in maybe September or October. Let's see. Yeah. So any question? So we have another 1 month kind of break. So for the 1 month, you can read as much as you can. Try to finish until Chimba Tsunim Zoba Tsundu, until the Chimba Tsunim Zoba Tsundu. Try to finish the until the 4th perfections. It's very easy. But there's nothing really difficult. Chimba Tsunim Zoba Tsundu. Definitely the 4 perfections until the 4th perfections. Then 5th something Chimba Tsunim Zoba Tsundu. Then Chimba Tsunim Zoba Tsundu something shut up. Then the next 2 perfection of the mindfulness, perfection of wisdom, we need to spend like a longer time. Particularly with the wisdom, there's a lot of things we really have to study very precisely. So first for perfection you do as your own study. Then we can have a short class. Okay, any question?
From this chapter.
Yeah.
Chapter 8. Okay.
Right, and in the chapter 5 and 6 we must go, I think, very slowly.
Do you plan to finish this book within this year?
We have another one book, 3 volumes.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
is tough enough.
Yeah, let's see. Maybe this year is difficult, I think, cannot finish. Yeah.
So many interruptions.
All the books before you.
Yeah. I will finish within a few days, just read. Oral transmission.
Until you certify, I understand everything you thought you would be here, right?
Huh?
I want to learn genuinely.
Yeah. Yes.
So any of us genuinely want to learn, so you will certify that we really understand what you taught before you will decide what to do next.
Anyway, so before start the next class, everybody try to finish until the 4th perfection. Then we will definitely spend more time with the 5th and 6th perfections, particularly the 6th perfection is so important. Most is talking about the 6th perfection. Okay, thank you so much, and we can do the dedication prayers.